What's up, my brother?
What's up, G?
It's good to have you on here.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Yeah, we got one of my boys right here from ages ago. We go way back. I don't know what this man isn't doing. He's doing everything, and he's definitely affecting a lot of people's lives in a positive way that not many people are doing in New Zealand. Yeah, this is Jesse right here.
I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for having me, man. It's cool to see, like, just before, like I was saying to you before, it's cool to see what you're doing and creating a platform where you can, share stories and, have like deep conversations. Because I feel like New Zealand's always a little bit further behind than other parts of the world. And when it comes to like this kind of stuff. So the more of these types of platforms and the more conversations we can have about, positive things, I think it can like positively impact the culture.
Yeah, harder. Yeah, we've seen that missing as well, that market missing. And we've seen there's so much cool people doing cool things in New Zealand as well, eh?
Yeah, bro. But we've got heaps of talent here. Like, heaps of talent. We're just like, there's that tall poppy syndrome. That's why people don't really like go out, like strive for greatness, But I think that's slowly changing though, right?
Yeah, hard out. So like, tell us a bit about yourself. Where'd you grow up?
So, I mean, I grew up in Kelston, Glen Eden and Kelston, West Auckland, New Zealand. Yeah, man, like I could go on and on about my story, but pretty much like I would say the big thing for me when I was born into a really traumatic life, once we're warriors type shit, So like there was a lot of like, abuse at home, violence at home, domestic issues, just a lot of trauma, bro, from a young age, So pretty much like that was like my first few years living in women's refuge homes with my mom. Dad left when I was 7, so I didn't have like a positive role model when, a masculine role model. So pretty much like there was always this like lack of identity that I had, like I didn't know, because my dad was Maori, my mom was European. So it was like I had this disconnection to like my Māori side, but I grew up in an area that was predominantly like Pacific Island and Māori people, So, when I went to high school, when we were at Kelston Boys, it was a weird time because like I didn't have that positive role model. I was easily influenced, and I was just like trying to just like survive, bro, just trying to like fit in, in the school. But yeah, I think like in those early years of my life, because it was so like traumatic, there was a lot of like mental health issues that I didn't really realize that I had at the time, but it like later on down the track I really realized, because like I ended up dropping out of school like when I was 16, 17, and then I ran away from home when I was 17.
Oh yeah. True.
So yeah, I had like I was just like a troubled kid, bro. Like had anger problems, like.
Why'd you run away?
I ran away because I was in a relationship at the time. It was pretty toxic. It was a toxic relationship, but
typical
West Auckland teenagers, bro. It's like it was a pretty toxic relationship, and I had a really bad relationship with my mom at the time. Like I was just like really rebellious, and I think that was because I didn't have a dad. He wasn't there to like enforce discipline or anything like that. So I was really rebellious. Like I would steal. I was like getting into fights, all that kind of stuff. So. I was always getting in trouble, and my mum was always having to pick up the slack for it. And then she would always like go off at me. Ended up being a massive fight. And one thing that I had when I was a kid, and I still took it into adult years, but it was really bad when I was a kid, is I had like really bad anger problems. So like there was this one time when I was with my mom, she was going off at me for something that I did wrong, and then I was having some dramas with my missus at the time. And I just had this like explode moment where I just like saw red, and then I just like raged out. I don't know if you've experienced this before, but I had these like rage attacks, bro. And then pretty much it's crazy, bro. It was like, I mean, if someone was to diagnose it, there would probably be like a legitimate like mental health disorder for it. But like, it's like I would see red, then I would literally just like wild out and just like start punching holes in walls.
Yeah, I had an anger problem as well when I was younger, but I didn't even know I did.
Yeah, it was just normal, like because I saw my dad doing that when I was getting old. So I was like, oh, that must be normal, So that's what happened, and pretty much what happened is like I went wild, and I was like punching holes in walls. I threw a chair through the window, and then I punched a hole in the sliding door, bro. And when I punched through the glass, I pulled my hand out. My wrist was like splurting with blood. I've even still got the scar, bro. You can see the scar.
Fuck.
Yeah, it was like splurting blood, like literally like fountains, bro. It's crazy. And then when that happened, I looked up and like the red like mist kind of went away. And then I just saw my mum was on the road. Heaps of people were on the road. She was on the phone to the cops. Cops were on the way. And I was like, fuck. So then I just like packed my bags, ran, bro. I
Fuck.
didn't go back for a year.
Straight up.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Fuck.
And
Where'd you go?
I was
Just-
17. So I was pretty much just like couch surfing for a while. I had a couple of my homies that came and picked me up. And then I just like was just like staying there. And then like I was hanging around at the time. I was kind of like, you know, I didn't want, because I was in like this victim mentality. It was like, it was her fault. You know, it wasn't my fault. So
hard.
I wasn't wanting to take responsibility. So pretty much for like an entire year, I was just staying between friends' houses. And then I just started just getting up to no good, bro. You know, just like living on the streets, just started doing drugs every day, drinking every day, selling drugs, you know, and then I just ended up in like real negative situations at a young age, like hanging out with like just not the right environment, bro, you know. And it was especially for a 17-year-old, like it was, that didn't have any like family or anything. I was just like, I felt like I just like abandoned everyone, bro.
Yeah.
And yeah, pretty much like that was like a big turning point for me, because I lived like that for like a year. And then after that, I realized, I remember it was like a New Year, it was like we went to like this festival for the New Year's period at that time. And I remember like that New Year's Day, it was like the first of, I can't remember what year it was, but that New Year's Day, I was just like, fuck, like what am I up to, you know? And I had a talk with one of my mates. You probably remember him, or John Vaki.
Oh, yeah.
The MMA fighter.
Yeah,
So one of my good mates, he was on the right path. Like he was at university, he was like fighting, he was like training heaps and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was like, bro, like what are you doing, bro? Like what are you doing with your life? And I was just like, fuck. And I was like, I remember I was really drunk when we had this conversation. He's like, what are you doing with your life? Like you've just like, you know, you could do anything that you want, but you just like stay stuck in this, like you're relying on other people to like sort your shit out for you. You know, you're not doing. And at the time it triggered me, and because he was like getting angry at me for it, and it triggered me, and I was like, we almost had, we didn't almost have a fight, but we got into like an argument about it.
Yeah.
And at the time I just didn't want to hear it, but then I was so thankful for him later on, because I realized like a real friend would actually call you out on your shit and just be like,
hard.
bro, like.
To have a friend like that when you're 18 is wild as well.
Bro,
because like
hard.
that never really happens.
Yeah, and I was just lucky because he was just like he was a couple years older than me, and he was just like, he just called me out, and then I realized I was like, yo, he's right. So like pretty much after that, that's when I started getting onto like my personal development buzz, and I was just like, I need to just like sort my shit out. I'm not at school. I'm not gonna do the selling drugs thing anymore, because it's just like not gonna end up in a positive place. So that's when I was just like, what can I do? And then I moved back home. My mum actually put a restraining order against me at that time, eh? It was pretty crazy.
Shit,
So
you
I
must
had
have been wild.
Yeah, bro. I had to go back and I had to like resolve all that, and I had to like really like get my mind right. And pretty much after that, like she let me back home, and then she kind of just like, I just told her, I was like, I want to like turn my life around. Like I want to do something positive. And then she was the one who got me into like personal development, and she like bought me like, she taught me about like the law of attraction and
true.
Yeah, because she was always teaching me this stuff. I grew up in a Christian household, so we had like a lot of spirituality. Like we prayed every night, like you know, that kind of stuff. But I kind of like strayed away from it during those years. But yeah, when I tried to get my life back on track, she started teaching me all this stuff, and I was just like, I was like a sponge, bro. I was just like, yo, just teach it to me, you know. And then pretty much like after that. Like that, it was New Year's that happened, and then the next month I enrolled into a personal training course, became a personal trainer, got qualified, and then I ended up manifesting a job overseas, bro. And I started traveling around the world as a trainer.
So what was your first like spiritual interaction like that made you change properly? Because like I know like, oh no, like for me, so like when I first got into like learning about things, I went back to my old ways anyway.
Bro, hard.
And like, hard. What was the time for you when you like actually clicked and was like, fuck, the shit's real? Like,
well, I could answer that in many ways. Like when I was like, I had a lot of like trippy experiences when I was a kid that I just didn't quite understand. You know, like I guess you'd call them spiritual or mystical experiences. Like like out of body experiences and stuff like that. But I didn't understand them when I was a kid, you know.
Tell us about them, bro.
So I had some pretty like intense ones, bro. Like when I was really young, like some real dark ones, like some dark ones that like not positive ones. And it was kind of like during like, you know, when I started like experimenting with like psychedelics and stuff. And when I started taking psychedelics when I was like an early teen, I wasn't in a positive mindset, and I was taking them recreationally. So during those times, I had like really dark experiences where I started seeing shit, you know, hallucinating and like seeing like, I don't know, like negative spirits and devils and shit like that, you know. And I remember having like that kind of stuff when I was young, and that's when I realized like, yo, all the stuff that like my mom teaches me about like spirituality, that's like real, like there's real shit out there, like positive and negative, you know. But fast forwarding to like more of the positive experiences, because I don't want to like talk about all the negative experiences, but fast forwarding to more of the positive experiences, there's like spiritual experiences that happen like both directly, like a mind-blowing moment, but then there's also like the deeper lessons in life that you learn through like just regular things as well. So like
manifesting and shit.
Yeah, like so like when I got that job, when I got the job on the cruise, I became a coach on a cruise ship, and I traveled around the world, like 20 different countries in a year, like literally like the same year that all that other stuff happened. And that happened literally because I just started like visualizing. I was just visualizing what I wanted to manifest. I was writing it down every day. I was like listening to like affirmations and like started saying affirmations and all this stuff. So I didn't really know how it worked, but I was just doing it because I was like, fuck it, anything, just give me anything, because I'm sick of being like, you know, where I'm at. And then it worked, and then I ended up getting that job, and I was like, wow. And then I just kept applying that throughout my life. And there were heaps of times, like you said before, where like you have the experience, but then you just like fall back into the old ways. I was like that just all the time. But every time I would fall back into the old ways, I would, you know, remember like the thing, and I would get back into, you know, trying to, you know, apply it again. But I guess to answer your question properly, bro, there was a experience that I had. So just fast forwarding a little bit in the journey, you know, after the cruise thing, traveling around the world, I actually became a dad. So my son was born when I was 19. So I came back from that world tour, had my partner at the time had my son, and then the 2 to 3 years after that were like rough, bro, because what happened, this is where some of the, I guess, the spiritual experiences happened, because in those 3 years I ended up going through a big breakup, which was tough, because I ended up like leaving my family, which was like, it was almost like I was repeating the cycle that happened to me, you know. So I ended up leaving my family, moving out of home again, and because it just wasn't a positive environment. It's good now, but back then it wasn't a positive environment. And then my mum got cancer. So my mum got cancer on my 21st birthday. I remember she got diagnosed with cancer. She had a brain tumor. She was having like seizures and stuff like that. And then that started so she got cancer, and I went through the breakup all at the same time. And that was really, really hard, bro. It was like rock bottom for me. It was like rock bottom part 2, you know? And like, that was tough, because like during that time, that's when I was like mentally in the worst place, like suicidal, you know, like contemplating taking my own life and all that type of shit. And it was during that time, fast forward, you know, 2 years, my mum actually ended up passing away. So she passed away 2 years after she was diagnosed.
Damn, sorry to hear, bro.
Yeah, nah, it's all good, bro. Thank you. So that period of my life, dark, bro, real dark. And like, I went to the depths of like the underworld, you know, during those years, because I was like trying to find like something positive. I was trying to, you know, I was just trying to hold on to something, you know, some hope, some like faith. And, you know, I shared this on other podcast recently, but I'll share this here as well, is like, I went through, that's when I started getting, like, I started becoming aware of, like, because my mental health got really, really bad. Like, I was really depressed. I was like doing like all sorts of drugs, like smoking weed every day. I was doing coke like all the time, drinking all the time, partying all the time. That's when I got into like the bodybuilding stuff. I started doing steroids. I was like getting jacked, bro, because I was just trying anything.
Trying to find a place.
Just trying to find anything, bro. And but I remember it was crazy. Like, I had this point where I was like, I put all my effort into trying to, you know, create the life that I thought I needed. You know, I got into physical shape. You know, I got jacked, I got shredded. I actually got myself up to a high level of competition in the bodybuilding world.
Yeah.
I was competing overseas. I started building my social media brand, you know, so I had like a fitness brand. I had an online fitness business at the time. I had an in-person training business. I met a new partner. We had a new home. Everything was really, really good. I was making good money. I was like making my like 6 figures like through my business for the first time. This was like in my early 20s. So it was like, that was heaps of money for me at the time. So I had everything, bro. I thought I had everything, and I had the sponsors. I was getting like free supplements. I was getting flown over to like work at expos and all this kind of stuff. So I had all this stuff going for me, but I was like behind the scenes, I was like depressed as fuck. And that's when I was doing drugs all the time. I was like numbing this pain that I had, and my mental health was really bad. But on the front end, it looked like I was all good.
Yeah.
You know? So everyone on social media, they'll be like, "Oh, this guy's the man. He's got heaps of followers. He's living the life." But deep down, bro, I was like empty, and that's when I realized I had a mental breakdown during that time, bro. I was actually coming down off drugs. I had like a massive like bender, right? And I was coming down off drugs. I ended up getting into a fight with my partner. It seemed like everything was just crumbling around me, and then I was just like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take my life." I actually decided to do it, and I tried to do it, bro.
Fuck.
Yeah, I tried to do it, but it didn't. You know, thank God it didn't work. It didn't end up going through. But after I did that, I realized I needed help.
Yeah.
And I was like,
how'd you try?
tried to hang myself.
Oh, true.
Yeah, bro. But it was like while I was doing it, I just like realized I was like, fuck, like I can't do it. Like so, and while I was doing it, I just like pulled out of doing it, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was heavy, bro. And I realized I needed some help after that. And that's when I really started actually trying to work on not just like manifesting things, but like my mental health. I was like, bro, I need to work on myself because like I'm not happy. And then during that time, that's when I started to do different things. I started to like.
How old were you here?
I think I was about 24, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was about 24, 23, 24. Yeah. Maybe, yeah, around 24. And during that time, I started to like really try and just like focus on healing, because I realized like if I've got these issues, like mental issues, like if I've got like all these problems, I'm depressed, I'm anxious and stuff, there's got to be a reason for it. Like, because like I never agreed. It's not actually, I'll take that back. It's not that I don't agree, but I never resonated with like the traditional approach of like going to a doctor, getting diagnosed as like crazy or
hard out,
bipolar or some shit, you know, because I'm sure they would say like, bro, you're listening to voices in your head, you're crazy. You know? If you're having these like spiritual experiences, like that's a crazy thing, you know. So I didn't feel safe going into the system to like seek help. So I was like, I need to figure out how to do this on my own. Like I don't want to take like antidepressants and just like do that type of shit, you know? So I started like exploring my own inner world, and that's when I got into like breath work and meditation, and I reconnected more with like my spirituality at that point, because at that point when you've got everything that you think you need and you're still depressed as fuck, you realize is like it's more to life than just this physical shit. You know?
Would you recommend that to people that are got like taking antidepressants and all those pills just to work on themselves? And
I would say
you're living proof of that it helps.
I would say it's different for everyone, bro. That's why I'm like, some people are really extreme and they're like, nah, fuck all that, like don't do any of that. And I don't think that's necessarily the way, because everyone's got their own path, bro. Everyone's got their own like healing journey. And like I know some people that, you know, they do take antidepressants and stuff, and that's just what's been on their path, you know. I'm not saying that that's the answer and the cure for everything, because I don't think it's the cure for things, but it can help people, you know. So it can help. For me, it just never really resonated with me, you know. So that's when I was like, okay, I need to figure out like a more alternative, like holistic approach to like healing, like whatever the shit is. And that's when I started learning about the connections between my issues, my addictions, and my problems in my relationships, and my traumas. I saw the connection, and I started learning about how the mind works and how the subconscious mind works. And then I actually started like doing that work on myself, and as I started to do that work on myself, like reprogramming my mind and like healing the trauma, like and you know, reconnecting with God and the universe, and like, just going back, like intentionally going back down that path, it started to help. It started to help, and I had some really powerful experiences. One of those experiences was actually in a breathwork session.
Can you just explain breathwork to people that don't know what it is?
Yeah, for sure, bro. So breathwork is basically it's a technique. It's a breathing technique. So there's different types of breathing techniques that you can do. Some are more performance based for like sports and stuff. You might do some with like your boxing and stuff like that. But then you've got like other types of breath work, which are more for accessing altered states of consciousness. And also to help you, really just connect with yourself more.
Yeah, because I've seen you do some with like thousands of people.
Yeah, bro.
In the crowd, bro, and you're doing a big like workshop of breathwork.
Yeah.
You're like out in the bush and that.
Yeah. So
and I was like, whoa, that'd be wild doing that with everyone.
Yeah, there's levels to it, and there's different types. So the ones that we do in our workshops and stuff at Light Warrior, which is my company, we do like workshops and big sessions with like groups of people, and usually in those ones we go a little bit deeper. So they're like, you'll generally lie down, you have a pillow, you have a blanket, and we'll kind of guide you through a process. We do these breathing techniques, but then there's also breathing techniques that you can do every single day, like a daily practice. Like I have like a 5-10 minute practice I do in the morning as well, which has kind of different effects. But from a healing perspective, basically how breathwork works is you do these breathing techniques. It's very like conscious breathing, like filling up your diaphragm. And you just bring a lot of oxygen into the body, basically. And what that does is as you bring in all this oxygen, it starts to oxygenate your blood and your cells. And the interesting thing about the body is like inside the body, you've got like all of the cells that like make up the body. There's like a acid alkaline balance that happens, right? So it's like a balance between like acid and alkaline. So when you experience a lot of like trauma in life, like I did, even if it's not like that, like super intense like mine, even if it's just like minor trauma, like getting bullied at school or just parents yelling at you or something, like even that can be traumatic for a kid. All of the stuff, it creates an emotional response. So for me, when I witnessed like my parents fighting and my dad leaving, that created like fear of abandonment in my body. Like I felt fear, like it's like at the time. And as a kid, we don't get taught how to deal with our emotions, right? Like, so we're like processing all these emotions, like this fear, this anger, this like confusion, but we don't know how to like deal with it. We don't know how to process it. So what happens is we suppress it. And especially as men, this is what men do a lot. Women do it as well, but men do it more because like for men and boys and males, we have like this like this belief that we have to be like strong and tough and like any emotion that we feel is like, no, just push it to the side, fuck that. So that's what we all do. That's what I did. So but when you suppress it, the thing is you don't actually like get rid of it, and the body stores it. So the emotion that you feel in the body is actually like these chemicals that you feel. It's a chemical response, and then it creates like physical tension in different parts of the body, organs, muscles, all sorts of. So it gets like actually stored up, and then that emotion stays in the body. So it's like the best way to explain it is you're always feeling the emotion, even if you're not consciously aware of it. So it's like for me, I was always feeling fear. I was always feeling anger, even if I wasn't aware of it, even if I was just like hanging out with you, just chilling like normal. So what that does is the emotion, because the mind and the body are connected, the emotion impacts the mind, so depression is really just like a negative mindset if you think about it, and the negative mindset was influenced by the emotions that I had felt 15 years ago. I just hadn't properly processed. So when I started getting into breath work, I didn't really realize all this until I started doing breath work. And I had a this breath work journey that I was talking about. I was with a group of friends, and it was interesting. We set like, it was it was the first time I did like a ceremony. Like I've never really done like a ceremony before, like a spiritual ceremony. But pretty much what we did is we went in, we wrote down like the things that we wanted to like let go of, So like for me, it was like my anger towards my father and like these like issues that I have when I get like triggered and stuff, like my addictions and all these kind of things. I wrote all these things down, and we burnt it. We burnt this piece of paper. It was like a symbolic kind of process, I guess. And then we went into this breathwork journey. It was like a 30-minute journey, right? And in this journey, it wasn't the first time I had like an out of body experience, but it was the first time I had it to this level. Pretty much what happened was, by the second round of breathing, because when you do a breathwork session, you go for like usually like 20, 30, 40 breaths, like deep breaths, and then you have like a hold, like a breath hold, and then you go into like this like release state. In the release state, I just had this like full out of body experience, and like my third eye opened, and I just like zoomed off, and I saw like my entire life, bro. And I saw my family tree. It was like a tree, like a big tree that represented my family tree. And this was the vision, bro. The vision was this family tree, and there was like roots that went into the ground, and there was like branches that went up into the sky. And the roots represented like my ancestors. So I could see all these roots going down, right? And it was like the trippiest experience. Like along these roots, I could see all my ancestors from both sides, my mom's side and my father's side. And I could see, like, from this like bird's eye view, that there was this like trauma, this generational trauma that was just like going all the way through, like all the way back to like when like our ancestors arrived in this country. You know what I mean? And I just saw there was just like this trauma that just carried on all the way through the bloodline, and then it got to me, and then it got to my son, and I could see me and my son in this like in these roots, right? And I was like, damn. And then in that moment, I realized that was symbolic of like me being the one to like break the cycle, because up until that point, it was just always just happening. No one was conscious of it. No one was aware of it. So I realized, like, for me, I had to break the cycle, and I'm still breaking the cycles, bro, to this day. Like, still doing it, but I had to break the cycle so that I don't pass that on to my son, so he grows up with the same issues that I had. You know what I mean? And in that vision, I saw all of this, and then the tree was like this beautiful thing, and then what happened was, I felt like this is probably, this is a really long, drawn-out answer to your question, but we're getting to the punchline, bro. We're getting to the punchline.
It's good, bro. It's good to break it down like this so people understand.
Yeah. So the reason why, like, your question was like, what was like the spiritual experience that like changed you? The reason why this changed me was because I felt the presence of my mum come into the space when I was seeing this vision. And I could feel it because I could almost like hear her voice, and I could feel her like presence. It's hard to explain.
No, I know what you mean.
But I just felt it, and it was almost like she was like communicating to me, like in my thoughts, like speaking to me like telepathically or whatever. And when she was talking to me, she was like showing me this tree, and then what happened was the tree all of a sudden got burst into flames. Right? So the vision was like this beautiful tree, and then boom, flames, and it was just like getting destroyed, burning to a crisp. And then I was just like, why are you showing me this? Like, what's this? Like, why? Like, what is this all about? And then there was like a time lapse. And what happened in this time lapse is like a fast forwarding time lapse where this tree burnt to ashes, crumbled to the ground, disintegrated. But then what happened was it grew back again over time. And eventually it just ended up being a beautiful tree again. But this time it didn't have all those negative energies around the roots. And it was in that moment when I was speaking to my mom. I was like, what does this mean? And she explained to me that this is symbolic of the seasons and the cycles of life, and the cycles of healing, and the cycles of life and death. Because when we see a tree all beautiful, we admire it and we're like, oh, that's a beautiful tree. But then if it burns to the ground, we're like, oh no, that's a bad thing. That's a terrible thing. It's kind of like when we lose people in our life. When I lost my mom, I was like angry. I was like angry at God, angry at the universe. Like, what? Like, why did you let that happen? But I realized that it was a natural thing. It was supposed to happen. We're all gonna die one day if you think about it. It's just a part of life. So and that's a cycle. So we're here for a limited. We get born. We're here for a limited amount of time, and then we pass on to whatever's next. If there is anything, who knows? But then when I saw that, it gave me this, like, I was able to like release this emotion when I witnessed all of this in my mind during this like experience. I was able to release this emotion. I just started crying, bro, because I realized that like I just had all of this like emotion built up from my mom passing, from my dad leaving, from just like all the shit that I went through in my life, like just everything. I had all this emotion that I just needed to like release. And I just like started crying, and I just started like releasing it, bro. And I realized I hadn't actually cried like that ever.
Yeah,
Literally my entire life, bro. You know, so I let it all out, and then when I let it all out, it was like there was like this like peace that I experienced afterwards. It was like this like moment of peace, and you know, like I had actually like made a significant level of healing, and it wasn't just peace, it was like gratitude. I like felt this like positive energy. And I was like, and that all happened as I was witnessing all of this inside of my mind. So to answer your question, bro, I think that was probably like a really, really powerful moment for me, because I actually came out of that session a completely different person, and I just like didn't even see life the same way anymore, bro. I didn't see positive and negative, life and death in the same way. It was like, I guess it was an enlightening moment. Didn't mean that I was perfect. I still had shitloads of lessons I needed to learn, but it changed me, bro. And
no,
that was a game changer, bro.
That's mean. And going back onto like how you learned how to like reprogram your subconscious mind. What was some of the patterns you did to do that? Affirmations and
So this is actually stuff that we teach our clients, bro. So so once all this stuff started happening, I was like, yo, I needed to teach this to people. I need to figure out. So that's when I started getting qualified and like doing courses, learning how to do this stuff and teaching people. And then my online personal training business became like a life coaching business. And that's kind of what we do now with Light Warrior, which is my company now. So to answer your question, what I did and what we do a lot now with like our clients is, if there's a specific pattern that you recognize that you don't want to keep doing, let's say it's an addiction, or like even if it's something like procrastination or something like, you know, any like behavioral pattern, you pretty much got to write it down first. Like, this is the thing that I want to change, because that allows you to make it conscious, right? So you write it down, and then it's just about identifying the actual pattern. Because the thing about patterns that I've learned is patterns are repetitive. So because they're repetitive, they're predictable. So that means the same thing happens
before that thing happens.
It's like a step-by-step process that happens. So this step-by-step pattern normally happens unconsciously, meaning you don't realize it happens. So I'll give you an example. Like when I was younger, one of my big addictions was like smoking weed, right? So I would feel stressed. And if I felt stress, like anything, just work, business, life, anything, any type of stress, I would feel this like kind of stress, anxiety, and then it would create this like tension in my body. Like that was step one. Step two is I started to like worry about things. So I'll be like, oh shit, like this is wrong, or like this is gonna happen. I might get like paranoid about something, or like I'll just start like overthinking stuff. And then I'll start falling into these like negative patterns. That was step two. It would trigger like the stress would trigger this negative pattern. And then step number three is I'll need to feel like I needed to relieve it. So then I'd go and I'd have a joint. I'll roll up a joint or have a bong or something and just smoke some weed. And then that would lead me to feeling good, like temporarily, like get high, feel like everything's all good. And then that was step number four. And then afterwards, later on, maybe a few hours later, I would start getting tired. I'll start to procrastinate, get lazy, just like not do anything that I need to do. That was step 5 and 6. And then after all of that, I'd start feeling guilty. I'll be like, oh, fuck, I feel like shit, you know, like I should be doing something better. So that was a pattern, you know, stress, feeling overthinking, smoking some weed, getting high, temporary relief, procrastinate. And it just happened all the time, bro. And I realized I was holding myself back and sabotaging so many areas of my life just because of that one pattern. So pretty much like to answer your question, when it comes to reprogramming the subconscious mind, it's like identifying what the pattern is first, step 1, and then step 2 is figuring out what the pattern is. So you have to kind of like actually go into your mind and actually be like, okay, where does it come from? You know, what's the first thing? What's the trigger? So the trigger is like what makes you do the thing, like whatever the pattern is or whatever the addiction or behavior is. What's the trigger? Is it like stress? Is it like your kids just being annoying? Is it like
Yeah.
something that your partner says? Is it like your coworker, or is it something you see on social media? You know, is that something that triggers you? What's the trigger, and then what happens after the trigger? So if you can figure out the trigger and then what happens after the trigger, and you can write it down, then basically what happens is you make something that was once unconscious, that you didn't know about, you make it conscious.
Yeah.
So now every time it happens, you see it
You
happening.
can see it happening.
Yeah.
You can stop it.
Yeah, and you can choose to stop it. Now, if you choose to stop it, that's kind of up to you. That's where the work is. Because,
Yeah.
you can still see a pattern and you can still keep doing it.
Yeah.
You know? And
Yeah, because sometimes I've done that as well, where
Yeah.
I've like I'm noticing that I'm doing something, but I'm like, fuck it, this time I really need it.
yeah, exactly.
But
And,
like-
and sometimes it'd be
Yeah.
like that, you know?
And sometimes it'd be like that for ages.
And that's not necessarily like, I wouldn't even say that's necessarily a bad thing. And I think it's something that we get stuck on sometimes, is like, you know, especially if it's like addictions and stuff, because if you're breaking free of an addiction and then you go back to it, it's easy to be like, oh fuck, I feel like shit, and like start beating yourself up and like, you know, getting harsh on yourself and stuff. And you kind of have to give yourself a little bit of grace, and like, you know,
Acknowledging it, eh?
yeah, just acknowledge, just if you can
Yeah.
at least see it and like acknowledge it, and still get back on track afterwards, bro, that's massive progress.
Yeah,
You know,
I
like
know.
from what it used to be when you just do it all the time without even realizing. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like a, you know, there's levels to it, bro, and I think it's like a constant journey of like growth and evolution, and I'm still learning, bro, straight up.
Yeah, hard. So what, like, you know, we went through the stage of like leaving your house and going on the run and all that stuff. Was that when you finished dancing?
Bro, yep. Yep. It's funny that you bring that up, bro, because I actually only just realized. So I started getting back into dancing like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I seen that. I was buzzing out.
Yeah, 2 years ago, and like it's been good, bro, because I started getting back into making music, like hip hop, and dancing again, like a couple years back. And that's been amazing, bro. And as I started getting back into dancing, I actually realized, like, I traced. Okay, so I'll share a quick story. So like when I started getting back into dancing, like I took like 10 years off dancing. So back in high school, just for the people that don't know, I was in like a dance crew. We competed at a high level. We became national champions. We were fully into it, you know?
Yeah, hard. Yeah, you were on.
Yeah, we were on, bro. And then pretty much like there was some dramas that happened, like in the like political stuff that happened in the dance world. I ended up just leaving the dance crew that I was in, and then that's when I started like kind of going off the rails.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And it was weird, bro, because I like lost. It's like almost like I like lost myself and just went into this whole completely different world.
Yeah.
And yeah, bro, that's when I stopped dancing. So like when I started getting back into it a few years ago, I was meeting people that I used to dance with back in the days, and they're like cracking it now, bro.
Yeah,
like
I
they're
know,
cracking. Like a
But
lot
that's
of
what I think as well. Because I used to dance as well. Obviously, you know that.
yeah.
And then like we got into this massive fight at school,
Right.
and we got banned from like being in the dance and Bring It On at the time.
Bring It On. Were you on Bring It On as well?
Yeah, but like at that time, it was like I went to Massey though.
Yeah, that's right.
My brother went to Kelston.
Yeah.
But
That's
like
right,
at the
that's
time, like I don't know why. We just took it to heart, and like I was like, oh fuck dancing.
Yeah,
I'm not
bro.
gonna dance anymore. And then like
Bro, actually.
just turned into a maniac,
Yeah.
really, and just fucking
Yeah.
it's crazy. But now like I'm seeing everyone getting back into dancing. I don't know why, it's just popping up on my feed.
Yeah.
Like people dancing, and there I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's a sign, bro. It's a sign. All right. Honestly, when I first started seeing it again, I was like, nah, I don't know if I'm gonna get back into it. It took me a while to get back into it, but nah, it's really like honestly, I think it's really important, bro. And you know, back when we were in high school, we had Bring It On, and like dance was a massive part of the culture back then.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's not like that, bro.
Nah.
Like because I dance with like a lot of youth and stuff now, and they don't have what we had back then. And I think like looking at the youth of today, there's a lot of like problems, bro, like in the schools and stuff, like
definitely.
way worse than what it was like for us.
Yeah, but their problems are more internal though, at high schools these days.
Yeah.
Back then it was like people expressing themselves like by like fighting or like graffiti or just dressing in different clothes. These days they're all like robots, but they're just dealing with shit inside.
Yeah. But that's dangerous, bro. Because what
I
happens?
know.
Like, it's kind of like what I was talking about before about all that suppressed stuff.
Yeah.
But it's worse now because of social media and because of how the world is. So like because of social media, it's created this new type of like culture where like, because back in those days there was no social media. We were lucky because like it was just if we had beef, we'd have fights and that type of stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it wasn't like you wouldn't like put someone online and like try and like destroy their whole life.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
like cancel culture wasn't a thing back
Yeah,
then.
hard out.
But nowadays cancel culture is a thing. So now like everyone's trying to flex online. You know, you see like, and you see people just doing stupid shit.
Yeah,
You know,
hard.
and because we're working on a project at Light Warrior at the moment to do like a high school like tour, like working with high schools and doing like motivational speaking.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And bringing in like hip hop and dance and like rap and stuff into schools,
Yeah.
but teaching them in a positive way. So like teaching them the tools so that they can, so that teaching the youth how to tap into their creative side in a positive way, to express themselves in a positive way.
Yeah,
Because that's
yeah.
what it kind of was like back for us.
Yeah, yeah.
But so that's something that we're doing these days. And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he does speaking in schools as well. And he was like, man, it's way worse because now like kids are rocking up to school with like guns and knives and shit.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and like kids are getting stabbed at school. You know,
Yeah.
and they're just doing like way more reckless stuff than what we would have used to do. And it's like being put on social media.
Yeah, hard.
You know, and like, because people are doing it for the clout and like
Yeah.
trying to be cool and whatever. So it's a weird world that we live in, bro. But
Yeah. I reckon at school, like they could, to make it positive, they could teach people how to use social media in a positive way.
exactly,
Like
bro.
schools need to start moving with the times as well. You can't be teaching fucking cunts about like, like what was that fucking social studies and shit like that. Like no one wants to learn that. And you shouldn't be forcing people to learn a language. Like you have to do a language class. Like,
Yeah.
bro, you swap one of those classes out and teach people how to use social media to make money.
Yeah.
Teach them about taxes.
Bro,
like,
straight up.
Bro, I know when I left school, like I didn't know anything. Like
Yeah.
you go into your job and you're like, oh, you try and work out your pay. So you're like, oh yeah, sweet, I'm getting this much here, times these hours, I'll be all good. And then
Yeah.
you get your pay, you're like, and then oh, you got to pay tax. And oh, what the hell, you
My
know? And
guy. Yeah.
like the schools right now, like I've seen they're like moving forward. Like they got like building programs and like construction programs in school, but then they're not teaching people about taxes or any of the GST or anything. So they're
Yeah.
going to come out and be a subcontractor straight away, and then just get hit with tax all the time, and then they're just straight into a hole again. You know, it's like
Getting stuck in that debt cycle, bro.
yeah,
Yeah, man. I feel you, bro. That's why kind of what I do now, because like at Light Warrior we have kind of different levels of our like programs and stuff. But
yeah. Talk a bit about Light Warrior, bro. Like tell
Yeah.
like what is it about? How much you got staff and all that? Or?
yeah, bro. So we got a team that works around the world, but pretty much Light Warrior, it's a personal development coaching company. And our mission statement is we help people embody their greatest potential so that they can express their creative self and make a positive impact in the world.
Oh, man.
So pretty much like we've got different levels of the program. Like we have like transformation programs. I'm writing a book at the moment as well called Embody Your Greatness, which is basically like a book and a program to teach people how to like just go through a process of, you know, becoming the greatest version of themselves mentally,
Yeah.
physically, emotionally, spiritually. And we've kind of created these like curriculums and frameworks. So we got like the book that we're working on. We're going to do like that's when we're going to do the high school tour, because I want to get the book
yeah.
in schools, bro.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want
yeah.
to write the book, make the program, get it in schools, and then just give kids this like this like easy thing to do that's going to help them get their mind and their body and their
Yeah.
emotions right. And also provide them with like, it's another thing is like helping people like connect with like purpose in life, you know, like, because I think we live in a world where like everyone's like, it's all about like making money, and like that's really what we've been taught is like work your whole life to make money
Yeah, yeah.
and save up and
The
then
rat race, eh?
buy a house, get into debt, and just stay in debt your whole life pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
And just like that's it, like
Yeah.
that's life, you know, that's what everyone does. But that's like such just a small part of life, you know. And there are so many, you know, money's important obviously, but there's also like, if you feel like a slave to a system and you're not fulfilled in anything that you do,
Yeah, yeah.
then it's like, what's the point?
Yeah,
You know
that's what I try and I always try to preach it on my socials as well. Like, you need to learn to, like, actually find out what you want to do.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you're just stuck in this trap.
Yeah.
You take it out on your missus.
Yeah.
Or like, on your, not take it out as in like physically, but like you just resent, you know, you have little random arguments that don't even mean anything.
Yeah.
But deep down, you're really just not doing what you want to do.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. So like that's another thing, like, because I feel like if kids are getting raised, and even adults, bro, not just kids, like if teenagers are getting raised in a school or a system where that's all they think is the right thing, and then everyone's just going into like this matrix system, and just like selling their soul for just some money, you know, and just like not even happy with themselves. Like it's just not like fulfilling, and like it gets to the point where people just get depressed, and like, you know, even if they're not aware of it, they get like just living in this negative state. So purpose is something that I had to find, because I didn't go down that route. You know, obviously I shared my story. I didn't go down that path. So I had to find something that I was passionate about. I had to find something that like made me feel like I was doing something worthwhile, you know? So that's another thing, is like, you know, helping people embody their greatness, but helping people like find what their purpose is, and then helping people actually do that. So we have like higher level programs, like we have a creator academy, which is like because a big thing in the world now, and this is something, you know, you're talking about how we should teach kids like social media and stuff. So the crazy thing is the creator economy, it's called, is like a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it's projected to increase in the next like 5 years by like 100 billion. And what that means is like over the next 5 years, the money to be made in the online space is just going to continue to skyrocket. And there's so many ways to monetize online. There's like, you know, drop shipping, there's like digital marketing, you know, there's affiliate marketing, there's like personal branding, like what you guys have been doing, like creating your brand and building podcasts. Like there's so many things you could do to create something that's meaningful and purpose driven and impactful. And you can make the bag from it at the same time, you know? So like we're wanting to teach people like not only to become the best version of yourself, but like how do you actually build like a business and like a LLC, and like set up like your own, you know, legacy that can actually create generational wealth for, you know, your children and stuff like that, you know?
Hard.
And that's like something that I feel like should be taught in schools, because there's kids out here on TikTok like 16, 17, 18, and they're making like hundreds of thousands of dollars per month.
Even there's some, I don't know their names in that, but there's kids on YouTube, that just play with toys,
bro, just stream
and
and
just
stuff.
make money.
Exactly.
I reckon like a good target market as well would be like intermediates and up, because like, you know, kids run around like, I want to be astronaut, I want to be, and they always, by the time they get to year 7, year 8, they don't know what they want to be.
Exactly.
They want to be what that guy is there, and that guy wants to be what this guy is here, then he wants to be what his older brother is. You know, they like just lost their path.
Exactly, bro. And I see that, like my son, he's 10, and like he's going into intermediate next year. So he's like in those pre-teen years, bro. And I see the kids like in his school and stuff, like I can just see that, like my son knows, because I talk to my son about this all the time. Like he knows that he can do whatever he wants, and he knows, like he's already got his, like he wants to be a football player, he wants to be a streamer, he wants to create his own business. He knows like where he's going, and he knows that he can do it, and he knows that like he's got the resources and the support to do it. But a lot of these other kids, bro, they don't have any support. They don't even realize, you know. So it's kind of like the thing about kids is that they've got so much creativity, and they've got so much, like they're like a sponge, you know, like they haven't been programmed by the matrix yet, you know, so they already know, like they don't know all the things that hold adults back. Like, because if you tell a 30-year-old to like build a personal brand on social media, they'll be like, oh no, I can't do that. They'll just talk themselves out of it. They don't believe they can do it, because they just got limiting beliefs. But kids, man, they don't have those yet, you know. So you can tell them something, but oh wow, I'm gonna do that. You know? And they're just like, it's nothing to them, you know.
Hard out.
I think that's why I'm really passionate about working with youth, because I want to make sure that they have spaces where they know that they can make something impactful and have a dream and actually do it. And that's a very realistic path.
Hard out.
That they can take. Because
Yeah.
when we were in school, that was not a realistic path, bro. No one did that. Like that wasn't even a thing back then.
Even schools need to be doing that, especially for kids. Especially how like AI is coming out as well now.
Bro, that's a whole nother conversation. But
like what do you reckon about AI? Do you reckon it's positive or negative for the future?
I think there's two sides to every coin, bro. But I feel like there's negatives and then there's positives. I feel like the negatives is that it could end the world.
Yeah, yeah.
It could take over, bro. It's a
Yeah.
possibility, you know. It's actually a possibility, which is crazy. You know, the fact that that could happen.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm someone that will always make sure that I'm aware of all possibilities, you know,
Yeah,
of what's
yeah,
going
yeah.
on in the world. But at the same time, there's also a lot of positives around it. And like the way that I see it now, because we use a lot of AI in our business, and we teach our clients like how to use AI to like help them build their businesses up.
Oh, yeah,
Because
yeah,
there's
yeah.
so many ways you can utilize AI in positive ways.
Yeah.
And basically, like the positive sides of AI is that it basically just makes things way faster. You
Yeah.
know, so I've been in business now for 10 years, bro. And you know, before all this AI stuff came out, if I wanted to make a website and get like a digital product up online and sell it and start making money from it, that whole like if I wanted to write an ebook or create like an online program, that process would take me like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, or unless I had a team that could do it for me. But nowadays, you can go into an AI and you can get a digital product made in 5 seconds.
Yeah,
You can get a website page made in 5 seconds, and you can have all of it live and making money within an hour.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, to know that that's even possible, it's just like
Yeah. What websites do you use? ChatGPT?
ChatGPT is pretty cool, bro. Like 'cause
Yeah.
that's like the OG because and like I use ChatGPT 4 because you can like program.
There's the newest updated one.
It's like the pro version. Like it's like it's like the newest update because you can program it to do things for you. So I've like created these AI like robots basically that act as different like roles within my company. So
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
like a social media strategist AI that helps me build social media campaigns.
Oh.
I have product development AI that helps me structure digital products that I can sell online.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a operational manager AI that helps me systemize my workflows and helps me systemize my days so I can like be productive.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
things that I would normally have to hire like specialists for.
Yeah, yeah.
You can just program robots to
See
do
there,
it. now.
guys? You can do whatever you want, man. Do it all by yourself.
Straight up, and like now that's why I'm really passionate about teaching people about this stuff.
Yeah.
Like especially doing it in a way that's like aligned with your purpose. Because if you have something that you want to do, or like a vision or a dream of doing something, you can create it these days. I was talking to my son the other day, and he's like really into like anime and like gaming and stuff. And I was like teaching him about AI. I was like, you know, you can create like a clothing brand if you want to, you know. And he was like, oh yeah. And we're like brainstorming, and I was like, okay, so if you were to create your own type of brand, what would you create? And he was like, maybe I'll create a clothing brand that has like mashups of different anime characters. So it's like Goku versus some other anime character, and like have it on a t-shirt, you know, make some merch out of it. And we're like, sweet. So let's, and then I was teaching him how to use Midjourney and how we can create.
What's Midjourney?
Midjourney is an AI tool that allows you to generate high quality images in seconds through prompts, and it's based off that Discord server. So you have a Discord server, and you can basically put in prompts like imagine Goku versus Superman in high quality 4K, photorealistic imagery, and it will generate it in seconds. Yeah, you can get the high quality image, and then you can go onto Shopify, put it on a t-shirt, set up a storefront, sell it. You know, just like that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was helping him do that. I was helping him like realize that, and we actually walked through the process. I was showing him how to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so now he's like, oh, I can just like make a few grand if I'm just selling some t-shirts that I like.
Just online, eh?
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's what everyone has to do, but it's just to know that that's a possibility.
Yeah, hard,
it's just
hard.
like crazy, bro.
Yeah, that's wild, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want like. That's what I'm hoping that'll happen one day. That like they make so much AI and robots that like humans ourselves don't actually have to do the things we don't want to work, like factory jobs, countdown,
Yeah.
all that stuff, you know, and it gives humans free time to actually do what we want to do.
Well, it's gonna be like that.
That
bro.
would be-
It's gonna be like that, and it's gonna be an interesting transition because that's already happening.
Yeah.
Like now, like heaps of people are losing jobs, and it's a challenging time because people will lose jobs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And people will lose money, and there's already a recession, so it's already
They should, yeah. If they dropped, if the government dropped everything while people are losing jobs to level it out, fuck, that'll be a perfect world.
Yeah. So it's going to be a little bit of time of readjustment, and some people are going to lose out and miss out. But that's why you need to be able to educate people about the knowledge, because once people have the knowledge and they've got the tools to be able to do it, then you can really do anything.
Yeah, hard, and everyone can get online as well.
Yeah. Straight up. Straight up, bro.
Yeah. Did you ever get into like any conspiracies and stuff back in the day?
So that's bro, that's a funny thing that you bring that up because I was raised by a conspiracy theorist.
Oh,
My mom was a conspiracy theorist.
What was the main one?
Everything.
Everything.
Bro. Everything. You name it, I know about it. Straight up. And the funny thing is,
What,
my dad,
9/11? You know about 9/11?
yeah, straight up. My dad was as well. So my dad and my mom were both heavily into it.
Yeah.
So it was interesting for me, bro, because I grew up like I was almost like annoyed at it because like my mom would always tell me about these things that were going on. She would be telling me about like what's it like the Illuminati and like the reptilians and like just it's everything, bro. Like the aliens, everything. And like I would listen to her and I'd soak it all up. But sometimes I'll be like, yo, I just want to like go to school and like just play some games, eh? Like just chill out, mate. But nah, I'm grateful for it because back when we were kids, conspiracy theories were very, very taboo. You know, they weren't normal, you know. But as I got older and I started to see the world and I started to see what was going on in the world and I started to just like meet people and like have conversations and learn more about what's actually happening in the world, I started to realize, oh shit, a lot of the stuff that she was telling me is actually going on.
Yeah, yeah.
And especially like in these last few years, bro, like when all the stuff started popping off of like, you know, C-19 and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I was just like, oh shit, like I can see it happening.
Yeah,
you know? I can see it happening. So yeah,
that was a big unfolder,
Yeah.
for a lot of things that you learned from back in the day.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people that weren't into that stuff, they like awakened to it, you know, during those years, you know. But
people are still doing it now. Like I talked to someone the other day at the gym, and he was just like, "Fuck, bro, I'm just like realizing now, like, why did I, like, you know, not listen?" But you know, people didn't know. Everybody goes through their own journey, like you said before, and like I think I think these next 10 years, the world's slowly gonna change.
Yeah, bro.
And a lot of stuff's gonna unravel.
Yep, I think so, bro. And I think the thing about conspiracies, and this is like what I had to learn the hard way, is that when you first, like if you're someone that doesn't know about that stuff, and then you first, like you start reading into it and stuff, and like you go through that process of just getting into it.
The rabbit hole.
You just dive down the rabbit hole, bro. You take the red pill, you go down the rabbit hole, and then you just like start reading about all these things and like watching all these videos. It can actually like kind of fuck with you a little bit because
definitely.
Because you start seeing everything in this real like negative way, and if you're like not all good inside and you start bringing all the stuff into your mind that's like just like the world's fucked, then you can get like paranoid, bro.
Yeah,
and then that's when
yeah.
it can actually become a negative thing, because then you're kind of living in a constant state of fear and everything that you see looks like something that's negative.
Yeah.
And I've seen like that's what happened with my dad, bro. What happened with my dad is he like went off the rails a little bit and he got too deep into all of it to the point where it consumed him.
Yeah,
and you mix that with some drug abuse, you mix that with like, you know, it can mess with people.
I think that's part of it though, eh? When people actually, that's part of like an awakening in a way.
Yeah.
You go real deep, you're like, fuck, nothing's working out for you, you're learning about all this shit. Then all of a sudden you're like, boom, oh fuck, you realize, oh, this is just for me to know.
Yeah.
It only starts getting troubling when you like try and tell your friends and like people that don't want to hear about it, eh?
Bro.
Because they're just like...
That's when you ruin relationships, eh?
That's
what happened. I'm sure in COVID times, there would have been so many friendships and relationships that would have got severed.
But I know families that have been split up, and still today that the parents are still holding their ground, even though it's all thrown out the window, you know?
Yeah. Or is it?
Nah.
Well, I actually heard that there's a rumor that there's some lockdowns coming. Hopefully not. But
hard. I seen that as well.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck.
I seen that. What's his name?
Alex Jones?
No, the one that runs Microsoft and stuff.
Oh, Bill Gates.
Oh yeah, Bill Gates. I seen him talking about like a new virus that's gonna come out.
Yeah,
I was
straight
just
up.
like, why are we listening to this guy?
There was actually one of the biggest conspiracy dudes in the world. His name's Alex Jones, and he actually like put out a.
Has his conspiracies come true though?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, yeah.
He's pretty tapped in. He's got like all the whistleblowers and shit. He's been doing it for like. This dude, my mum was watching his content when I was like a kid, bro. So he's been doing this for ages.
I'm surprised he hasn't got whacked yet.
I'm surprised as well. But yeah, he before all like the new variants and stuff came out, he put out a video that went viral, got like 1 billion views or something, and it was basically saying like this is exactly what's gonna happen, and it's like it's gonna come back out. They're gonna start introducing mask mandates, and they're going to go back into like just all the same shit, but they're going to slowly happen over the next few months.
Yeah.
And then I think it was like 3 or 4 days later, there was a new variant that came out, and they started putting people into lockdowns in the United States.
That's wild,
Fuck,
bro.
yeah, so I don't know. But
Because then, like, from that, what's come from that is that social credit score, that, like, China's implementing right now, that's nuts, bro. You can't even... If you say one bad thing online, like, that's negative 10 points. You go and travel, oh, sorry, you're 10 points under leaving the country.
Yeah.
Like, damn, bro, if that comes in...
It got close to that with the passports. Hey,
Yeah.
it got close to that. Like, people were starting to, like... come out. It was such a crazy time, bro. It was a crazy time. But, yeah. That's what, like, when you start looking into that stuff and you can see what could happen... Like, it's easy to get kind of like doomsday mindset, like, fuck, everything's turned to shit. But that's why I'm always just like, because I went through a phase where I would like talk about all that stuff like heaps to try and like wake people up or whatever.
Yeah.
But now I'm just like, I don't like, you can be aware of those things, but I think it's more beneficial to like focus your energy into like bettering yourself.
Yeah, hard out.
Become the best version of you, create the life that you want to live, and then you don't even have to worry about that shit.
Yeah.
You know,
that's like, because we were trying to like break down the divide, eh?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
me and my missus thought we were doing the right thing by going to those like protests and all that. Then we just realized one day, like, this is a divide as well. This is creating a divide as well, eh?
Yeah.
So,
Because
like,
people can get like anti-establishment and like,
we're
we're gonna burn down the like. You saw what happened in Wellington, bro.
Yeah, we
Like,
went down, bro.
Oh yeah,
For 5 days.
Did you see the riots and stuff that happened at the
Nah,
end?
we left just before because we had kids.
Oh yeah, bro.
But like, it
turned
was
to shit.
getting like,
It turned to shit, eh?
yeah.
Yes.
They like turned the sprinklers on, and like everybody was camping. It was just like a mud pit, bro. The whole thing.
Damn.
Yeah, it was wild, bro. It was mean. It was a mean experience.
I heard
right?
it was good, like positive.
I don't regret it.
I heard it was like really positive.
It was
at the
big,
beginning.
like meditation groups, like all of that. Like, bro, it was crazy.
I had some friends actually that went down and they were hosting like circles and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think it just kind of turned to shit at the end, eh?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's why I was like, that's why the mission, the message, and the mission is just like embody your greatness.
Yeah,
that's why I always say it, and I say it all the time.
Yeah.
Because if you do that, then like create the life that you want to live, then have a great life, financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. All your family's looked after. Your children's children are looked after.
Yeah.
You got that generational wealth. Like that's what we're working towards, bro.
Yeah, hard out.
And that's and that's how you can like. That's how you can like win the game, because you only like lose the game like that the system or the matrix like puts onto you if you are like dependent upon the system.
Hard.
But if you can build out your own infrastructure and your own system, then you can just like play in the matrix when you want to.
Yeah.
But like Neo, you just jump in and out.
Yeah, hard.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, you got to work on the mindset, eh?
Yeah.
Hard out. How do you reckon you build it, like, from someone that's doesn't know, that's lost? How do you reckon they build a right mindset to get out of that?
Yeah, bro. I think it starts with I think the mindset starts with really just taking responsibility for your life.
Yeah.
Like, I think it starts there, because you know how I was telling you my story about like how I ran away from home and stuff?
Yeah.
When I did that, I had a victim mentality, and a victim mentality is basically where like you blame other people or circumstances or the system or whatever for why your life is shit.
Yeah.
So I'm blaming my parents because why I'm unhappy, or I'm blaming the government why I'm broke, or I'm blaming my partner while I'm whatever, depressed or whatever. We like look at the external for like what our problems are within ourselves.
Yeah.
So when I say like taking responsibility, it's like if you have these excuses or these like, if you're like have this victim mentality around like why you are a certain way, then you'll always stay stuck in it.
Yeah.
But to get out of it, you have to kind of like take responsibility. You have to be like, you know what, I'm gonna actually like do something better.
Yeah.
And that can only be done through a choice, like through free will.
Yeah.
So you have to actually make the choice. Like, I'm gonna actually get up in the morning and go to the gym.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m. I'm not gonna like sleep until 10.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wake up at 5. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna have a workout. I'm not gonna eat, shitty food. I'm gonna eat good food. I'm not gonna like consume negative media. I'm going to put positive things into my mind instead of like negative
the algorithm.
Yeah, negative music and like just like random shit that you see
Yeah.
online. I'm not gonna scroll 20 hours a day. I'm going to go meditate in the bush or like go for a hike or you know, I'm not gonna fight people on the streets. I'm gonna go join a boxing gym and spar and train properly. You know what I mean? Like it's just about making conscious decisions to be better.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from just like taking responsibility and just recognizing like, okay, I'm not happy with this part of myself. I'm not happy with this part of my life, and no one else is gonna change it but me.
That's like the start, eh? That's really what you need to do. That's how I kind of started. Like, I was like, shit, like, fuck, I need to change my life. Like, what am I like actually doing with my mind, you know? And then like, I do this thing now called small wins. I do it every day. So like the night before, like I got a morning ritual and a night routine as well. And part of my night routine is planning out my next day.
Nice.
But I'll do small wins like wake up to my alarm first time without hitting the snooze. Like small wins, bro, like that.
Bro,
And then at the end of the day, even if you miss like 3 of them out of like 15, you can see that, oh, bro, I've smashed all of those out. And then you do the same thing, at the end of the week, you've got like way more positives than negatives. And like, it's helped me anyway with my mind. And
that's massive. It builds momentum.
Because
like every time you do like a little thing and you know that's like the right thing to do. It's just like you're just like you said, stacking wins, bro.
Stack wins for the day.
And then like by the end of the day, you just feel like accomplished.
You know what I mean? So that's what you could do anyway. That's what I do.
Hard up.
Small wins, stack them up as much as you can. And that's helped me hard out with my mindset.
That's good, bro.
But I've only just started, like, I've only, like, this time last year, I was fucking on benders, you know, just coke fueled every day. Just being a, like, bad partner to my missus and that. Not on purpose. Or, like, I thought I wasn't doing it on purpose, you know? I always was blaming everything else. Until you realize, like, fuck, you got to sort your shit out.
Yeah, bro. Fuck, I had to learn those lessons the hard way, bro.
Hard.
Yeah, but now it's good, man. Like, proud of you, bro.
Sharp, bro.
It's awesome, bro. Like, it's what happens, man. Like, you just like start making those positive changes, and it's crazy how you see like life change like real quickly. Like there's this like hermetic principle, this universal law. It's called the law of attraction. There's heaps of laws, and one of the other laws is the law of correspondence, which basically the quote is as above, so below, as within, so without. So basically what that means is like when you make a change within yourself, it creates a direct impact to everything around you. So, you talk about like a year ago when you were in that right space, like when you make that internal change to be like, yo, I'm going to do something, and you start doing it, like the positive impact ripples out to like kids, relationship, friends, family, social media. Look at what we're doing now, bro. People will watch this and they'll get the little bit of energy that is coming through, like what we're talking about. They'll feel it, and that might make someone think something in a different way, and then they'll go out and change.
Spark a brain.
It's like when you drop a rock into a pool and it creates that ripple. It's the same thing.
What does it mean? That's what they believe in, eh? Yeah. Every good deed is a stone thrown in the water.
Yeah, exactly. And it creates that ripple, and that ripple goes out to and that's what happens in life, bro.
Yeah, I haven't read too much into it, but I know they believe that like when you die, everything you've done will drop into water. And the ripples out of that will affect how you're going to live in the afterlife.
Bro, that's powerful.
Yeah, that'll be wild, bro.
Yeah.
That'll be wild. I need to look into that more.
Yeah. It's in the Egyptian or Kemetic like spiritual system, they call it the scales of Ma'at. So Ma'at is like a cosmic deity, goddess type being that balances out all your good and bad deeds. So at the end of your life, it's like how many good things did you do, how many bad things did you do, you know? And
what do you reckon? What do you reckon happens when you die?
That's a good question, bro. I could give a whole bunch of different
theories. Your main one?
Well, it's funny that you say that, bro, because over the last few years, I've actually lost a lot of people, bro. I lost my mom, obviously, was the first major loss. A few years ago, I lost a good friend of mine, Vake. You probably remember when that happened. He got murdered, bro. It was tough. It was tough for everyone. And then I had friends commit suicide, bro. That was not long after that. Other friends that were murdered. I've had a couple of murders. And then there was like another friend of mine that like a really close friend of mine, and he was like on this buzz, you know, he was actually one of my team members. He's a breathwork teacher. He was part of Light Warrior, and he just passed away, bro, on his birthday. He drowned, actually, you know,
Damn.
just randomly, bro. It wasn't even like negative about it. So like, when all these things have happened, you know, especially with my last friend who passed away at the beginning of this year, that one I just talked to you about, it was interesting because, you know how I told you that experience where like my mom came to me? That was happening with my other friend, bro. So he started like speaking to me, and I started seeing signs, and like it was almost like he was like communicating to me from beyond the veil. So I think that the traditional concept of like heaven and hell, I think there's some like validity to it, but I think it's just a lot more complex than people realize. I don't think it's just like a place that you go in the sky. It's like all sunshine and rainbows, and like just like some fiery pit in the ground. I think it's a little bit deeper than that. I think it's a little bit more complex, and I think we don't understand actually what that is. But there, like for myself, I feel like I know that there is a life after death because just of my personal experiences. Hard. Like, and even like if you think about like a lot of the big religions, you know, in the world, like think about Christianity, think about Buddhism, right? Think about you know, Hinduism, like a lot of like think about Islam, right? All these different religions, they all have their different ideologies around like what God is and what the universe is, and they're all very similar, bro. Like if you actually like research into them, like they're all very, very similar. The rules and laws that they all live by is all very, very similar. And they all had like these like teachers that came to the earth to like teach about things, right? You have Jesus, you have Buddha, you have Muhammad, you got all these like prophets, you know, and they had the knowledge, you know, they had their God power, right? And they came to the earth, and they shared their message, you know, like Jesus like taught heaps of stuff in the Bible, you know. He got crucified, came back to life, all that kind of stuff. Whether you believe it or not doesn't really matter. The stories exist, you know. Same with Buddha. Like he became enlightened. He was a king, or a prince rather, had heaps of money. He was supposed to become a king. He ended up running away from the palace and escaping into the mountains, finding some monks and meditating in the monks until he found enlightenment. And you know, when you look at these people, Muhammad, you know, he created the Islam faith, and you know, he was like brought back those Christ teachings that Jesus brought, you know. So when you look at all these different people, they were just human beings that came to the planet like just like us. They went through a journey just like us. They tapped into some higher power just like us, and they impacted like millions of people, and they still do. Even though they were alive thousands of years ago. So, like that, when I think about that, and I think about how many people pray to these different people, these different beings and stuff like that, and how much influence it actually has on people in real time, and including myself, like I pray every day, and like I get, you know, I like there's so much that happens in my life because I pray.
Who do you pray? Do you pray to like the universe, or do you pray to like energy source, or actually a religion?
So it's a good question, bro. So like I was raised in Christianity. So I had a relationship with God, from a Christian perspective from a very young age. And I prayed every night. You know, I was just like, thank you for my day, like thank you for my food, like please help me get through this hard time. Like it was just like always like a communication with this like God, right? But what happened for me is I ended up leaving the Christian religion, or not leaving it. Well, I guess, yeah, I ended up leaving the Christian religion purely because I felt like inside of the religion, there was a lot of things that weren't adding up to like what the scriptures were saying. So people were talking about don't like only God can judge you, and like, but then there's all these people like judging everyone in the church, and I was just like, that's cap, you know. It's like it's not it's not the same message, you know. And there was a lot of like inconsistencies, and I realized what happened. I feel like that's something that's happened over like a lot of like with a lot of like religions, is I feel like the source of the religion, like if you go to the original teachings, like if you go to Jesus's life and what he went through and what he talked about, like, or Muhammad or Buddha or whatever, like that, like, whether you believe it or not, that happened and the story was made. But then what happens is human, like human takes the teachings and then they start to like build businesses around the teachings.
Yeah,
you know, that's what that's like organized religion comes from.
Yeah,
and then ego gets involved.
Yeah.
And when the ego gets in, like man's ego gets involved, then power comes into play. Now it's a power game. Now it's like, how much power can I take? But people don't realize it, you know? So I feel like that's what happens in a lot of religions and spiritual like communities and
Yeah,
stuff.
they learn that they can control people,
They
control the masses.
they start to control people with knowledge and power. And that's, you know, that's like the world that we live in, you know? So I started to explore all this because of my experiences, but I still kept the connection. So like, I still kept the connection with God. And, you know, as I went into like different, like I started doing like plant medicine and like looking into different religions and different spiritual practices, I started meditating more. I started actually trying to connect with this higher power. I realized that all of these different religions and spiritual belief systems, they all just had different perspectives of the same thing and different interpretations of the same thing. So some people call it the universe, some people call it source, some people call it God, some people call it Allah, you know. And I'm not the type of person to say one person's right or wrong, because I just understand that that's what that person has, that's where they're at in their journey, and that's what their understanding of that is. But I feel like it just goes way more complex than that, you know? So when I say I pray to like what I understand God to be, but what I understand God to me might be what other people consider the universe to be. You know what I mean? I think it's just words that we use to describe something. But essentially, like the word that I've learned through like my spiritual journey is like faith, right? Faith is a word, and faith is essentially belief in something that you can't see. You know, and I think regardless of what it is, if you have faith in something that you can't see that leads you on a path that helps you to become a better person, then it's good. If it's helping you become like a shitty person and a negative person and an evil person, it's not good.
I reckon like heaven and hell is more like a mind or like a state that you get in while you're on earth. Like you can live like a hellish life on earth.
Straight up.
You know, like that's a mind, like your mind can be in the gutter the whole time. You see everything negative, everything's negative, like you say before. Or you can have like a heavenly experience where you're like, holy, wow, oh. You just see every moment, everything. Because, you know, like if you think about everything, you can always try and find the positive out of it. And then that's how you can get a roll on as well. That's what I've been practicing lately. Like when something bad happens, I'm like, oh, bro. Like with my daughter, like Max was supposed to be here with us guys, but my daughter just broke her leg somehow. But I was supposed to change her nappy, but she was cuddling me on the couch. And Max was like, "Have you changed your nappy? We got to go soon." I was like, "Oh, baby wants cuddles." Like, so I didn't change her nappy, bro. So we didn't know because she was crying before. And Max was like, "Have you changed your nappy?" I was like, "Nah, like still haven't changed your nappy yet." So my missus was like, "Oh, I'll do it then," because I would have just laid her on the couch and changed her nappy. My missus grabbed her and went to go like stand her up so she could grab the nappy out, and she like fell down on one side. And then she was like, "What the heck?" and try to make her stand up again, and she like wouldn't like put any weight on her leg. And then she started crying like when Max started touching it. So like we wouldn't have known. Like I would have changed her nappy and put her in her high chair, and then gave her like food, and then we would have left. And then we would have been getting calls now, and like, you know, this might have not even happened.
Right.
You know, so like I'm just learning to like find the positives in everything. And I had to find the positive in that. I was trying to think, why would the universe do that?
It's hard, bro. That's one of the toughest things about life, I think, especially like when you're kind of more on like a spiritual path or personal growth journey. Is like when you start seeing the deeper meanings in life, right? Like the deeper reasons as to why things happen. And sometimes it can be difficult, bro, because like sometimes like you can have multiple bad things that happen to you. I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like in the last this year, I've had heaps of really challenging things happen to me, bro. Just hard things. Like, and I'm just like, yo, like what? Like why am I dealing with this stuff? But then I realized, and this is something that I always have to come back to, and it's hard to practice in the moment, but what I've learned is that everything that we go through, positive and negative, there's always something to learn from it. It helps us learn in some way, you know? So like that experience, there was something that you learned from that, you know? Like when I went through running away from home, something I learned from that. When I tried to commit suicide, something that I learned from that.
Yeah,
when I lost people, I learned something, and it helped me grow.
Yeah, hard
and
out.
like become more wiser.
Yeah,
And I feel like there's something to that, like, because like if you're becoming wiser through your experiences, and then you can have conversations like this where other people listen to the story and they're positively impacted, then you can kind of see those things as a positive thing.
Yeah.
Even if it's like really, really dark and negative
Yeah.
at the time.
But that's what growth is, eh?
Yeah.
Like if you think of like, I don't know, like an animal has a shell.
Yeah. Yep.
There'll be like an excruciating pain when it's trying to, like on a crayfish or whatever like that. It'll be peeling off them,
Yeah.
But then after it, they're growing into a bigger thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like heaps of things. Like before you grow, there's always a massive carnage, something that's gonna happen.
Yep.
So I'm always like,
Yep.
when something real massive happens, and I'm just like, whoa, fuck, and then I think, oh shit, what's gonna happen after this?
Yeah, I always say the breakdown comes before the breakthrough, and the breakthrough always comes before the rise.
Ooh, some bars.
Bars. Yeah, bro.
Bars, man.
I had to convince myself that was true, because during some of those breakdowns, bro, I was like, fuck, there better be something positive coming.
Yeah, hard out, yeah.
But you're right, bro. That's it, man. And there's like, that's why like I've just been learning to, like, I got this tattoo on my head. It says transcend duality. And duality is like the positive and negative. It's like the light and dark of life, it's like a universal law. And like when you have the positive and negative, the light and the dark, the good and the bad, we have good experiences, we have bad experiences. And what I've been trying to practice in my life is like embrace both, but not get too attached to either of them. Like when the bad things happen, realize, like, embrace it, learn from it, let it pass. But when the good things happen, you embrace it, you learn from it, but then it also passes. It's kind of like it's kind of like when you're like fighting, like let's say when you're sparring, right? In sparring, you can get like hurt, bro. You can get like, you can break bones. Like my last fight camp, bro, I broke my toe like 3 weeks out from my fight, bro. I was fighting with a broken toe. Like it can hurt. You can get knocked out, like, and at the time, doesn't feel that good. But afterwards, you get that high, and you're like, yo, like, I feel way stronger because I did that.
Hard.
It's like when you get a tattoo. You might get a tattoo. It might be like painful as when you get it, but then afterwards, you're like, wow. Especially if there's meaning in it, it's like, oh, like I feel like you have the energy of the tattoo, and it was like a positive experience. So it's. Life is a weird way of teaching us things, bro. But
there's like a slow grind that I'm going through right now, because I'm trying to build some stuff online right now. It's like it's not stopping me from building, but like my actual construction job. But like there's days where I can't do it, and I'm like, fuck, I'm losing out on this money. But I'm just trusting that like my path that I'm going on now is gonna fulfill it. So there's a lot of trust to go with that. Duality as well.
It's that faith. It's that faith component, bro.
Yeah.
That's why it always comes back to faith, because it's like, if you're going through the trenches and if you're like actually experiencing like real negative shit in your life, and you can have faith that it's going to be okay, and that you're gonna get through it, and there's gonna be positive times, and you're gonna get to that win, or you're gonna get to that bag, or like whatever it is that you're working towards. Even when, and this is where the real test comes in, if you can practice that faith even when everything around you is turning to shit, that's some of the most powerful lessons you can learn in life. Because I've been in times where I'm like, everything's turning to shit, but I just have to have faith. There's nothing else.
And that's visualization, eh? That's trying to just keep that visual picture in your mind of what you're going to end up doing, eh?
Yep. And that's when you realize how powerful you are, because if you can make it through those times and still visualize and still create what you want and still believe it's going to happen and still believe in yourself, and believe in God or the universe or whatever, that it's going to work out, and then it happens, then like your mindset after that experience is on a whole nother level, because you've been through the trenches, you had the faith, you came out, and you made it happen anyway, and now you know that you can do it again. Because like the universe doesn't know that you're not actually living that, eh? It's just your mind. Like if you can see something, like we're seeing this right now, chair, camera, and that. It's the same as if you're visualizing your picture. If you can like keep those emotions going while you're going through the hard times, fuck, you can do anything, bro. Straight up.
And like you just got to trust that it'll happen. It could happen in like 10 years, but it'll still happen if you just keep that visualization happening, because your mind and your energy is just coming all all in line for a day.
Yep. So that's it, bro.
It's crazy.
That's it.
Even like with energy, like you can't create energy, eh? It's all
You can cultivate energy. So energy is like something that it's like transfers, you know? So
Yeah.
like it's something that your body cultivates and produces. Like your body produces it, and there's things that cultivate energy around us. But it's like a, and I'm not like an energy expert. Like I don't know the actual fact, because I don't think anyone really does. But it's like I feel like everything in this universe is just connected, you know? Like everything's connected. In this dimension, things seem separate. We seem like two separate beings, you know? We're on this couch. But if you actually break it all down to like a molecular level, everything is just atoms.
Atoms bouncing off each other.
Just bouncing around, bro. There's just different energies, different waves, different particles.
Yeah.
Everything's just going around into each other, and it's transferred, you know? So it's like you can cultivate positive energy by doing positive things, you know?
Yeah.
Eating good food, you know, listening to positive things, you know, meditating, raising your vibe, you know.
What's some good foods that you eat that?
Good foods. So I've tried a lot of diets, bro, but I've been really like lately I've just been really getting back into like what like our ancestors ate, you know, like food from the earth.
Like alkaline diet.
Yeah. Alkaline is definitely something like the alkaline for like fruits and vegetables and stuff like that, like from the earth, like organic. Like I've gone through phases where that's really, really helped me, you know, like fasting has been a good way to like help me like, you know, clear out like toxins out of my body and shit. I've done fasting for years, bro. It's been really like helpful.
Yeah.
You know, different types of fasting where you go for periods of time where you don't eat.
Yeah.
So that's been good, you know. Fruits and veggies. I eat meat as well still. Some people don't like to eat meat, but I think if you can get good quality meat, you know, that's like how our ancestors used to eat, you know.
Yeah.
Living off the land. So it's kind of just like living off the land, but I think it just gets kind of toxic when you just like eat heaps of like processed foods and like
hard.
all the packaged foods and stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a no good, eh?
Yeah, but
as long as it comes from the earth, eh?
Yeah.
Like as long as it comes, who cares what you're eating? As long as it comes from the earth, like plants and then animals. That's all you need. You don't need this packet of fucking twisties before bed.
Before bed, even.
Before bed, and then wake up, and then go and have like cornflakes. Like, come
bro,
on,
straight up.
You can like tap into that high stuff, bro.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
I seen online you're doing that. Are you still doing those boat tours or whatever?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, so we do heaps
What's
of
that,
things.
bro? I was looking at that. I was like, damn, that looks fire.
Yeah,
I can't do that shit.
We do a few things, bro. Like, so at Light Warrior, we have our programs. Like, we have our academy, the Creator Academy. We have our transformation programs that we run. Got the book coming out. And then we have like a community group where we just do like online events and stuff. But then we got our in-person stuff. So in person, we run like workshops, seminars, and retreats. So we do retreats in like land retreats, like at like resorts. So we got some coming up next year. So we do them in New Zealand, different countries around the world, and then we do the super yachts as well. So on the super yachts, the super yachts are for like our entrepreneurial clients. But yeah, basically it's like all these events that we run, they're like 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, but they're basically just events where we get together with our community for a week. We go through a bit of like a structured program, training, meditation, good food. But then we're also like working on our futures as well. Like we're building out like what are we creating in our life? Like how's our business? Like what's our business strategy? Like what are the areas of our life that we're building up? And it's just like it's a mastermind. So we're bringing everyone together, and we have amazing experiences. We travel to different places, go to cool countries, party, you know, have a good time. But at the same time, we're being productive, and we're creating game plans that we can take away when we leave. So that like when you leave an experience, you've had this like positive, like transformational, enlightening experience, but then you've also got this game plan of like how you're going to execute when you get back. So you got like a business plan, you got like a personal plan for your like routines and stuff. But then you've also just got like this positive energy and this positive mindset as well. So that's pretty much what those events are for, bro. And we run them throughout the year. But yeah, they're amazing experiences, bro.
Yeah, those are sick. Where you going? What, you guys go to Europe and stuff, or?
Yeah. So we're going to Europe. We got yachts that we do in Croatia and Greece. We're planning to do some in Ibiza as well, which is gonna be cool. And then we're really wanting to just like tour through like the United States, Australia, and New Zealand, and
Oh,
just take
yeah.
it all around, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
But really, really wanted to start focus up more in New Zealand first, because I feel like New Zealand needs it, bro.
Yeah,
Like
hard.
New Zealand needs it, eh? Like there's
Would
just
you?
not that many people that do that stuff kind of over
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. Hard out. Yeah, that's mean. Have you ever done any breath work that like I've seen? Do you know Billy Carlson?
Yep.
I've seen him.
Forbidden knowledge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He was talking about doing a certain breath work that can tap into the same because you know our lungs produce DMT.
Yeah,
Eh?
yeah.
He does that breath work where you can tap into that same state that you can get from mushrooms. Eh?
Bro,
Can you-
I do it every day, bro.
Oh, do you?
yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
let's do that. I'm keen. I will do that tomorrow.
Yeah. Bro, I've actually got some, maybe something I could give the listeners as well is I've actually got audio programs, like guided breathwork audios
Yeah.
that I can send to you, and maybe you can link it up. I'll give it for free, you know, and it's to pay for it. You can just put it out for free and everyone can just download it to their phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much like, so you can practice it, bro. So, but pretty much like, if you want the science behind it and how it works in the body, you've got, so when you breathe, you've got like your lungs, you got your spine, you got your brain, and then you got your nervous system. So the nervous system, like, so the spine is connected like from your tailbone all the way up into your.
Is it the colostrum or something?
Yeah, you're onto it, bro. Yeah, that's it. So you've got like it connects up into your into the back of your brain, like your brain stem.
Yeah.
And then there's these glands inside the brain. There's the pituitary gland, there's the hypothalamus, and there's the pineal gland. And these glands, like in like Eastern culture, they call it the third eye chakra. And pretty much this third eye chakra is connected to these glands, and it's these glands that produce the DMT. So pretty much when you're doing the breathing, exercises, what it does is it like oxygenates your body. You start to go into this like kind of altered state of consciousness. But there's a specific technique that once you've done like maybe 10, 20, 30 breaths, you do this technique where you basically, how do I explain this? You basically take a deep breath in, like this. So all the way in, but then what you're doing inside of your body is you are contracting something called the perineum, which is like, it's basically like the muscle next to your like asshole.
Yeah.
So you like you contract the perineum, like that muscle down there. You contract it, and then you contract like the lower belly, like down like in the lower belly. You contract the upper belly, and you just basically contract
So it's
all
like-
these muscles.
It's like basically you're rolling up a toothpaste. Eh?
Yeah, they're like rolling up a toothpaste, exactly,
Yeah.
bro. And pretty much what you're doing is you're contracting all of these muscles. And what this does is inside the spine, there's this thing called cerebral spinal fluid. And it's like an actual fluid that sits in the bottom of your spine. So when you do this technique, it actually drags up this fluid through your spine, and then it goes into the brainstem, and it hits into these glands. And when it hits into these glands, you have the DMT release.
Damn.
So you have this like so like when you do psychedelics, if you do like ayahuasca or like DMT or mushrooms or something, you can have these like kind of like hallucinogenic experiences, but you can do that naturally if you just know how to like work with your body, and it can produce those same types of effects. And yeah, that's when you have like a lot of like visionary experiences, bro. Like I've had so many visionary experiences by doing that.
I'm keen to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you know that thing about the colostrum?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
don't quote me on this, but I learned ages ago that that's where they got Santa Claus from, Klaus. Colostrum.
Oh, true.
Because when you when you're like in sexual intercourse,
Yeah.
the glands react in the back of your head, and sends it all the way down your spine into your nuts.
Yeah.
And that's why they said that's where they got the Klaus from, colostrum, and that's like
True.
how Santa comes down the chimney.
Bro, I've never heard that.
That's
before.
why he comes
That's
down
crazy.
the chimney, bro. Like, 'cause obviously he's fake,
Yeah.
but like,
Just in case you didn't know.
yeah.
No.
No, just in case you guys haven't visited North Pole. Yeah, bro. That's where they got the Klaus from.
Oh, buzzy.
Yeah, because it's spelt the same, colostrum, and yeah, it comes down the chimney, which is your spine,
Well, it's interesting that you bring up sex, bro.
into your
because
nuts, and then there's the presents, you know.
It's interesting. That's the gifts, bro.
the gifts.
That's where the gifts come from.
Just unwrap it.
Oh, bro. But it's funny that you bring up the sex part, because like when you have sex, what happens is you have like, so, and if you go into like ancient cultures, they like that practice like, you know, sex in a like spiritual way.
Yeah.
It you can tap into those same types of visionary experiences, you know, with your partner.
With that muscle way.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that seem like semen retention, eh?
Yeah, pretty much. But it's kind of like your that the orgasm that you have, it produces the same type of effect in the brain. So it's like when you know how I was telling you about the DMT release.
So if I did that DMT release, I'll dribble or something.
Bro, it actually can happen, bro. Straight up, it can actually happen. It's yeah, because it's like connected. Because like that, like those muscles down there, it's like all interconnected with like all your organs and stuff, right? So, yeah, pretty much like that's what they call the Kundalini. Have you heard the Kundalini?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
The Kundalini experience is like when you have so Kundalini in like yoga in the yogic world is pretty much like when you have all of your chakras aligned. And you have this like enlightening experience. That's basically the Kundalini experience, right? And some people just have it randomly. But that's what usually leads to people having like awakening experiences because they just have this like
alignment
Kundalini kind of experience that happens.
Yeah.
Happens a lot with like plant medicine and like psychedelics and stuff. But yeah, if you know how to like do the breath work and if you know how to like work with your body, you can just like have those experiences all the time, and it can have a lot of positive effects on like your mental well-being. And,
Yeah.
So
if you ever did it too much, though, could it be negative?
I think if you become like addicted, not addicted,
Because there could be some people that just get trapped in that.
bro. So I went through that. So like when I first like started experiencing this stuff, I went through this like because I had an addictive personality when I was younger with drugs and stuff. I kind of treated this stuff like drugs.
Yeah.
So I would like use it, obviously in a lot of positive ways, but there was times where I used it to escape reality, you know, and I'd be trying to like, it's called, in the spiritual world, they call it like spiritual bypassing. So you kind of, and this happens to a lot of people, bro. Something that people have to watch out for is like people get like lost in the psychedelic journey.
Yeah.
Where they're trying to escape from reality. You know, they're just like trying to like leave Earth and just like go up into the clouds and stuff. That can happen as well. And that can be like a negative thing. So I think it's just about like using the tools. If it's the breathing exercise, if people do go into the psychedelic journey, I think it's important to do it consciously and intentionally and have like people that can guide you and like are experienced and can hold the space for you. And it's cool to see in like the United States, they're kind of starting to have like therapists that can actually use psychedelics in a therapeutic setting with like clients and stuff. I think that's like, or if you're gonna go see like a shaman or like work with an actual like legit group of people that can help you, not just to like, some people can experiment on their own. That's all good, but I would recommend for people to like do it with people that know what they're doing. Don't just like. Yeah, because when I was a kid, man, I did not know what I was doing, bro. And I had negative experiences, you know?
Yeah, I really want to try DMT. Like, I've tried it before, but I was like on a bender. And it was like, we just snorted it.
I haven't tried that.
And they were just like, oh, they've done nothing. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, wasted it type thing.
Yeah.
But, bro, I'll be keen as to try, like, do that breathwork one. Because Billy Carson recommends that to everyone that he talks to. Over like taking something that's outside your body to do something that you can do yourself inside your body, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's what I learned. Like, that's why I really, really dived into the breath work because I had some really amazing experiences when I was doing like in ceremony, like psychedelic ceremonies and stuff like that. And I've had a lot of amazing experiences doing that. And I will still continue to do that at times in my life when I feel like I need it. But as a, like, really what you get, the thing, and this is something that I would say, like, because it's a weird topic because it can go in different directions. It can be like heaps of positive things, but then it can also go in negative directions as well. Like people can get like messed up from this kind of stuff as well. So, purely just because it's in the wrong environment, wrong situation, wrong space. You know, it's not like applied in the right way. You know, so what I like to say is like, when you go through those experiences and you do have a positive experience, actually, let me rephrase that. Whether it's a positive or a negative experience that you have when you do these things, it's not really about whether it's good or bad, positive or negative. It's about what you learn from it.
Yeah.
That's really what the main
That's what it's trying to tell you.
because it's trying to like the reason why you do it is to learn something. It's to
Yeah.
teach you something. It's to help you in some area of your life. And usually what will happen is, like when I had that breathwork ceremony and I saw the tree and stuff like that, that was not what I was expecting. I didn't expect that I was going to see that. I didn't even know that that's what I needed to see. I didn't even know that any of that existed.
Yeah, yeah.
So like when I had that, I was just like, oh shit, that is something that I need. Like I learned about it, but what's more important is not just the moment of like having the trippy experience, but it's like what happens after that. Because like how do you integrate that lesson back into your life to improve your life, you know?
Yeah,
so that's why, like I always say, like whenever you go through any type of practice or medicine or whatever you're doing to expand your consciousness and to like raise your consciousness to this new level, it's like you got to raise up and tap in, but then you got to like bring it down and you got to embody it, and you have to, and that's a process, you know. You got to like take some time to like integrate back into real life, and take those lessons and take that knowledge back into real life, because that's one of the big things that a lot of people struggle with when it comes to this stuff.
I think I struggled with that as well. Like when I first gave up drugs and alcohol, and I still wanted to like hang out with my mates and be like at parties with them, but be sober. I was like, damn, what am I gonna do? So I got on mushrooms and fucking took like a hero dose, which is like, it was like 8 mushrooms or something.
Yeah.
Took 8 mushrooms, bro, and then like, fuck, I had the wildest time. It was fun as, but after I was like, fuck, I could have, because there's one point where I took the mushrooms, and then we were at like the house where they were doing pre-drinks and that, and I was like, fuck, I'm gonna go to the toilet, and I put my alarm on, because while I was sitting there, everything from my mind was coming out into everything that was in this 3D universe. So everything in my mind was coming out, and I was like, and every time if I blinked too much, it would be like my eyes were closed, and I was like, holy shit. So I went to the toilet and set my alarm for 5 minutes, or maybe I can't remember. I set it for a time, and I just sat there with my eyes closed, and bro, I just went into this other world of everything. It's just like it's nuts, and I just wished that like I didn't abuse it like that type thing, and then maybe that's what I learned from it. I was like, fuck, maybe I shouldn't do that again. Like abuse it just so I could like relate to my circle of friends, you know?
That's understandable, bro. Like I've been in situations like that similar, you know. It's just like you're just like replacing pattern, you know, replacing habits, you know. So it's like it's normal, but that's powerful, bro. That's cool that you had that experience, because when you have that type of experience and you just go into a completely different dimension and you see, like, you experience that. It's just like, whoa, I didn't realize that was there.
Seen the machine elves and all that.
Yeah, the machine elves. But that's the thing, like that shit's always around us anyway. It's just like when we go into these states, we just tap into like what's already there. And what I've learned about it, and this is where it gets kind of mind bending, is that it's just like there's like levels and levels and levels, and it doesn't stop.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
It doesn't stop, bro.
Like I even got like after the, oh, not after that one, but like the first time I did mushrooms experience, I was like seeing stuff like, and I was just like, what the fuck? So after that, I went on eBay and I was looking for infrared cameras and like just different cameras that can see different spectrums that we can't see.
Oh yeah.
Because I was watching this video of this dude on TikTok or Instagram at the time, and he was putting his camera in the sky and it was just showing all the stuff that we can't see. So like all that stuff is actually around us all the time. Like there could be other planes living on the same universe right now. Just on a different frequency.
They call it, so like when you go into like the quantum realm, there's like different densities of consciousness, and densities is kind of like the energy, like the vibration of the energy at that level of consciousness, and there's different levels of it, you know. So you know, you're talking about heaven and hell being like experiences. They're like vibrational energetic dimensions, if you think about it like that. So like if you think about like hell,
it'll be a 1D.
It's kind of, it's like similar, you know. It's like a really low negative, like low level vibe, you know. It's just like the emotions that you feel are negative, like the energy that you feel around you, it feels heavy. Like the people that you connecting with, they're like on like a negative vibe, you know. It's just like everything is like And it's all, you can tell the energy based off the emotion that you feel.
Yeah.
So if it's like hell, you're going to be feeling like hellish, like fearful, paranoid, like anxious, depressed, like just fucked up in the head.
Yeah, full of acid.
Yeah, exactly. But when you're like in that heavenly vibe, you feel peace, you feel happiness, you feel joy, you feel love, you feel connection with your kids or your friends or your family or with like nature, with the sky, whatever it is, like you feel connected. And it's like what I've learned about, I guess, awakening is like it's a continuous process of like, because as we move through the world, the matrix is interesting because the matrix is like, it's like a multi-dimensional world that we live in. So like you could go into a room that you could be like someone that's very balanced within yourself, like you're embodying like a higher frequency of like love or like light energy, and you can go into a room that is like the complete opposite, and it's like dark and it's like grimy and it's nasty and it's just like negative, and you can go into a room like that with a positive energy and actually change the energy in the room because of like the energy you have, or you can let the room change you. And that's what happens a lot, and that's like why this world is interesting, because we can be in like a real positive space right now. 100 meters down the road, you never know what's going on. It could be some like crazy shit happening in someone's house, where that shit could be happening, so it's like the world is like this really interesting like multi-dimensional place, and it's like on a spiritual level it's kind of like a spiritual warfare that's happening, because it's like a battle between like positive and negative, because you can hang out with good people, positive people that want the best for you and they want like to uplift you and they give you that love energy and you feel connected to them, and then there might be people that make you feel like the complete opposite, and it's like that's a constant everyday process, just navigating through. So that's why I think like, that's why when we say embody your greatness, it's like embodiment of your greater self as like, or your higher self as like the embodiment of like that higher vibration in this world. Because if you can be like that, if you can like really like tap into that like all the time, like when you're at home, when you're with friends, when you're at work, when you're driving, and you can just continuously cultivate that like higher energy, then you can actually be the one that positively influences other people just through your energy.
That's crazy, bro. And like you can learn to protect your energy as well, which is that's something cool. Is that I try to, like, me and my missus both try and do it, me and Max. Like if we know we're gonna go into a place or like into a meeting that we don't want to be in, like
energy bubble.
So we're just like,
that's what me and my partner do as well.
We'll just sit in the car and just be like, just visualize this energy bubble, and then we'll just go in there and just like, just get into that mindset, like that I'll change everybody else, no one will change me. Like recently we had to go into the this might be a controversial topic, but we just had to, last week we changing my son's kindy, because he's in this kindy and there's males in there, which is, we're fine with males being in the kindy, but we just requested that the males don't change like our kids' nappies. We're just like, we even thought that wasn't even a thing. We just thought that was common sense, that like males shouldn't change their nappies. And then they were like, enough. You guys are discriminating, like, really? And like, and then we like got into the law of it, and called like Ministry of like Education and all that. And there's nothing protecting the kids, but there's everything to protect the adult that's in that situation.
True. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, wow. There's nothing that like they're allowed to take their personal phones with them. Like they can. So like how it started is because one of the teachers was like, I won't bring up the kindy's name obviously. Because I've taught Tommy and that so much. But he was like, look at these like photos of your son, like, and it was on his personal phone, and my missus was just like, and then that's what led her to us at Christian. And then anyway, so we had to go into that meeting with them to like try and ask them to change it. Otherwise we're going to pull them out, but we had to keep our energy correct. Otherwise we'd go in there and would fall to pieces, or let our anger take over, or wouldn't talk correctly, or snap at them, or anything like that. So like that's where we use the energy bubble to make sure we came correct. And
bro, that's powerful, bro.
Yeah, bro.
That's cool
to use it like that. But that's.
But that's it, bro. And I learned about that as well. Like just dealing with like situations, like especially if you're dealing with any type of conflict in life, like with anyone, friends, family, ops, whatever it
Yeah.
is, you know, if you're dealing with anything, like if you can like protect your energy, but then also send positive energy,
Yeah.
then it can create this like positive ripple effect where like for example, if you are dealing with, if you've got someone that you've got an issue with, right, like a problem with, or like a beef with or whatever, and then and like the emotion that comes out of it is like anger and resentment and hate, you know, you got that like within you. If you project that towards them, then it like reciprocates back.
Yeah, yeah,
But if
yeah.
you can if you can rise above that feeling and like transmute it and just be like, okay, I'm gonna send this even though this person like is like, I don't like this person. If I can send positive energy towards them, if I can
Yeah.
like send like love towards them, then it can create it can shift the energy that is connecting you two together
Yeah,
through
yeah,
like
yeah.
negative energy. It can like transform it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I'm like struggling with at the moment.
It's
eh?
tough
Like,
though, bro. It's
because,
hard.
like,
That's
if
hard.
someone's trying to treat you a certain way,
Yeah.
and like I'm programmed to be like, bro, I'll fucking knock you out, cunt. Like,
Yeah.
don't like talk to me like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to now practice being like, oh yeah, even though like in my mind I think, fuck, I'm bowing down to this dude, like, or like I'm giving him the power over me, you know, which is like I have that battle all the time. Like I'm like my confrontations lately with people.
It's a tough one, bro. It's really difficult, man.
Where like before I'll just be like, fuck, let's just have a fight, like, and it
Yeah.
won't really sort anything out.
Yeah. It just kind of perpetuates
But
it.
if you think, yeah, that's fuck. Sometimes I think, fuck, damn, am I bowing down to this person just because I'm not reacting back with the same level of like intensity, which is like, yeah, that shit's hard.
Well, without getting super religious on you at this time, it's like I was actually talking to my son about this the other day, bro, because I've had to deal with some things with my son getting into fights, you know, at school and stuff. And, you know, we've been in fights, bro. I've been in so many fights myself, you know, and it's like, I was like, how do I change how do I teach him something different? Like,
Yeah.
because like, when I was a kid, I would want someone to be just like, yo, just like stack up for yourself and like defend yourself. And like, there's a time and a place for that, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, if you need to do that, then you gotta, you know, if you need to throw some hands and look after like whoever you're protecting, then do it. But there's definitely a time and a place. And I was talking to him about like how to discern the times and places when you do that. And if it's like, if you need to protect yourself or protect someone like that you love, then like, you know, do it. If you need to stick up for yourself, then do it. But if it's something that can be solved without violence, then choose that option. And then I gave the example of like Jesus, right? Like Jesus, again, not getting too overly religious, but like if you look at Jesus, like he got crucified, right? He died on a cross and he got stabbed in the back by his best friend. So his best friend, Judas, or one of his best friends, Judas, like snitched on him, and he was basically one of the reasons why he ended up getting killed.
Oh yeah.
But the lesson from Jesus was like, love your enemies like you love your neighbors, and love your neighbors like you love God, right? So it's like, even if someone like backstabs you, and I've dealt with this in my life, but like people backstabbing me, double crossing me, and like fucking me over, and all this kind of stuff. It's like, can you practice forgiveness for that person? And forgiveness is hard, bro. Like forgiving someone for doing something wrong, that's a hard thing to do, bro, because like there's a part of your mind, especially like from where we came from, there's a part of your mind that's like, nah, like fuck that. Like, fuck that, you can't let that slide. And but forgiveness, and this is what I learned through forgiving my father, bro. Like when I forgave my dad, like I was able to forgive my dad purely because I had to really learn and understand why he was like he was. So if he was like because like I've got a really negative relationship with my dad, bro. Like we aren't all good. So he would always like project all the stuff onto me and like be just like hateful and resentful towards me. And I'm always trying to like heal the relationship and stuff. But I had to be like, okay, if I can like how can I forgive this guy? And I had to figure out like, why is he like this? Like, why is he even being like this? And I realized, you know, it goes back to that vision that I had in the tree. Because it was like how he was raised. You know, he doesn't actually know any better. He's just like, he got dealt way worse cards than I got dealt. So I have to have like a level of compassion and understand like, okay, he's just been through some shit worse than me. And that's why he is the way that he is, you know? So it's like that with people in life, you know, like.
And that's how you get to like a higher level of consciousness, eh? Like I notice I'm doing it now with a lot of more people. Like I'll look and like I'll stand in their shoes as they're talking.
Yeah.
And like see where they're coming from and be like, oh yeah. And then it's like, it's helped me like talk to so many different people, like when I never would, you know?
Yeah, bro. Yep.
But
Yep.
yeah, that's crazy shit, bro. Fuck, it's been a good talk though, my brother.
Bro, hard, bro.
Fuck, we need to do a part 2 or something.
Bro, straight up. We could go for days, bro. We could go for
Oh,
days.
no, no.
Yeah.
No, that was good, bro. Straight up. It's good to hear from you. It's good to hear your
Yeah,
story,
thanks, bro.
everything you do, and yeah, fucking proud of all the stuff you're doing and
Shop, bro.
changing the world, bro.
Yeah, you too, bro. You too, man. Like honestly, like this conversation, I feel like it's gonna reach the people who need to reach it, who need to hear it, and I'm sure that there's like some golden nuggets, you know, in there for some people. And I guess the main thing I like that to leave with is like for the people that are listening, is that if there was something that really stood out to you in this conversation, like how can you apply that into your life? That's like the main thing, like because there's a lot that we went through, but if there was certain things that really spoke to you, like how can you take that and like not just have the information go in one ear and out the other, but how can you take it and actually do something with it?
Yeah, pause, rewind it, write it down.
Yeah.
But how can the people contact you anyway if they need to?
So Instagram or social media. So I'm pretty much on all social platforms. So Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Eon the Poet, AEON the Poet is my artist name. And you can also go lightwarrior.io on all social platforms. That's our Light Warrior account. And yeah, we've got heaps of cool things coming up. You know, like I said, we've got the book coming out. I've got an album that I'm working on, which is going to be dope. Got like an album and like a visual project with like dance and stuff that we're going to be doing. And yeah, we've got our online community. We run heaps of free programs as well. So like, if you just follow me on social media, you'll see whenever I'm dropping like free like events or workshops or challenges or programs, you can just sign up for free. We do heaps of stuff for free, so that people can just get access.
Yeah, I seen that. I watch some of them when you go live.
Yeah.
Read the comments. Some of the girls are like, "Oh my god, you're so I'm like, what? They're missing the fucking point." Love her eyes all the time popping up. I'm like, what the fuck? These guys are listening to him. Nah, that's fire, bro. Fuck,
yeah, bro.
You're doing mean shit, bro. Straight up.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it, man.
Sweet, my brother. Sweet, guys. Peace out, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Ah, dang.
That flowed really good, bro. That was good.